Now moving to our keynote today. One of the great honors as the president of the association is working with Danielle and having to choose a keynote speaker. And when we go to a lot of the NFDA events, we hear a lot of speakers and we talk to our colleagues from around the country. And our keynote person today is one of those people that we learned about from our colleagues. And as soon as I read some of the things about him and heard some of the feedback, I knew we had to bring him to Iowa. Can you name any other speaker who would show up today with not one, but 3 black tuxedos? That is how passionate Bob Pacanovsky is about creating a black tie experience. You may not remember his last name, but hopefully you remember the guy with the black tie and tuxes. I made the connection of Pac-Man, and I found out that was apparently one of his nicknames when he was younger. What do 25 National Pro Football Hall of Fame induction events and creating over 7,000 meetings and events have in common? All of them have received the black tie experience, courtesy of our speaker. Bob has achieved professional member status in the National Speakers Association and has spoken to companies and conferences on national, state, and regional levels. He is a new author with his first book published, Discover the Missing Link, 25 Ways to Delight Customers with Black Tie Hospitality. However, he is most proud to be married to his wife Connie for 34 years and his son Adam. Please help me welcome Bob Pacanovsky.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Good morning to all of you. It's an honor to be here. 146 years of a convention. That's incredible. What a great legacy. But before I begin, I want to say thank you to you. Because I know the jobs you have are very, very rewarding, but they also can be challenging at times. And in about a 14 to 16 month span, I used your services 3 times. For both my parents I buried in their late 80s, and my aunt, who was my godmother, in her late 70s. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the work you do every day. Thank you for taking care of people like myself and my families. The love and the care and the empathy and the respect that you show during, at times, darkest hours. It means the world to us. It really does. I know that those 3 times on what I went through, it just gave me a new profound meaning for what you do. And so on behalf of families like mine and those you deal with every day, thank you very much for what you do. As I was beginning to think about this, I was thinking, well, you know, what you have in common and what I used to do, well, or what you do and what I used to do, we have some things in common. See, I owned an upscale event and catering company outside of Cleveland, Ohio, and I don't know about you, but my clients hired me only about 5-6 times during the course of their lifetime, just like you, right? 3, 4, 5 times. Wedding, you see there, maybe a baptism, anniversary party, funeral, lunch on our end, right? Same with you, which means that we must need referrals. We must need what I call storytellers to make sure that our businesses are always going. Now, both of us are, I think, celebrations for most part. Ours with weddings was a celebration of a new life together. Yours is a celebration of a life well lived. I would tell my staff, though, that we had to make that impact because not only did we have to take great care of the clients who hired us, as I know you do too, but we had a potential of 50, 100, 150, 200 people walking into our venues, you walking into your funeral homes, who could be potential customers of you. What impact and what impression are all of you on the team going to make? Not just by delivering customer service, but by delivering something more here today, which I want to talk about here in this keynote. See, one of the things we other have in common is that we're all consumers. You buy things all the time for work, home, family. A couple questions for you. Is it me, or is it more challenging to be a customer today? You see that all the time when you try to buy things, right? And if I were to ask you, tell me the last 4 or 5 customer service transactions you had, and how did they make you feel? Could you even remember them? People ask me that from time to time as I know what I do for a living. And my answers are usually this. It was good. It was fine. It was okay. There's nothing wrong with those answers, except maybe that. We don't remember average, ordinary service. But when's the last time, as a customer, you said words or phrases similar to these about the experience you had? Oh, it's fantastic. It's like they know me. They never keep me waiting. See, ladies and gentlemen, across this great big country of ours, I think these words and phrases are still the exception in some businesses today and not the rule. But if you hear these about the experience that you're delivering to your customers consistently, then I think your brain has the opportunity to become this. Now, I'm pretty sure this isn't a word, but I'm making it up here today because when you become memorable, here's what happens. People start talking. Stories start forming. Word of mouth marketing starts happening. And there's great power to story and word of mouth marketing. You know that there was a study done that said that people retain information close to 500% better when told in the context of a story. Why? Because stories confirm or reaffirm the buying decision we make. And that's what we needed in our business. See, when I first started out, all we were was good, fine, and okay. I could attract customers and employees. That was never the challenge. The challenge was hanging on to them. Until I discovered this mindset shift, which we put into our company, which I want to share with you right now. In fact, it's in the form of a question. There are no wrong answers to this question, by the way, but I have my own that I'll also share with you. But I'm curious, since I don't really know any of you, what's your answer to this question? What business are you in, first and foremost? Shout it out. People, absolutely. What else? Service, of course, yes. What else? Goodbyes, I like that. I agree with all those answers, ladies and gentlemen. Here's mine. See, I think this is the business all of us need to be in first. That hospitality business, working with people, putting those final goodbyes into place. And there's one of the best definitions I found of hospitality, because I truly believe it's that art of making that emotional, that personal connection between you and someone else. How do you practice hospitality? Because at times we live in a world that's deemed inhospitable, largely due to this device. But those organizations that are in the hospitality business first, those are the ones that we gravitate towards again. Those that we can't wait to tell others about. And they separate themselves from everyone else because everyone else focuses on customer service first. Now, please don't misunderstand. We must do customer service. It's the backbone of what we do. But I think if you focus on being in the customer service business first, you're in the sales business. Why? The churn's always there. You always have to get new customers. You do this as a consumer. Someone says to you, hey, how was that restaurant? How was that wedding you went to? How was that funeral service you went to? And you're like, oh, good, fine, okay. Well, you think you're going to use them? And we do this a lot. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But this is the missing link, ladies and gentlemen, because you may not feel or see hospitality, but I know you can feel it. Think about the times as a consumer where you were made to feel more valued, special, welcomed, appreciated, not just when you sign the contract, but before, during, and after. See, I believe hospitality is how we make our customers feel while we're performing the customer service tasks. Because I believe hospitality can be transformational. Because when you're in the hospitality business, now you're in the marketing business. Why? Because you have people marketing your funeral homes, those storytellers telling others about you. And it doesn't cost a dime. But at its heart, hospitality starts with a connection. I want us to do that right now. Everybody stand up, please. I have a quick exercise here for you to do. It's going to take about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Listen up. Here's what you need to do. Grab a business card if you have one and something to write with. You're going to jot down notes on the questions you're going to ask. Now, then I want you to find someone you don't know. So if you're sitting next to someone that you work with, don't talk to them right now. You talk to them all the time. Find someone you don't know, introduce yourselves, exchange business cards, then ask each other these same 2 questions. And I think both of them apply in your industry. Question number 1, what's the favorite part of your job? And question number 2, what's your favorite snack or beverage you can't live without? Favorite part of your job, favorite snack or beverage. Go. All right, another 30 or 40 seconds. Okay, if you want to start wrapping up your conversations, it's always a challenge to break up the networking. Okay, if we can find your way back to your seat, please. Thank you. Well, thank you. They're still going on. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm going to share with you at the end of my keynote what you can do and why this exercise is so important, not just with the person you just met, but I think you can use this exercise with any customer, client, vendor, coworker. I think it's that powerful. See why? Because now you have data. I think data is very valuable when it comes to delivering hospitality. Because today, so much, folks, we just get average, ordinary service that I believe that hospitality can truly, personalized hospitality can be your true competitive advantage today, right? But here's what I saw from my vantage point looking at you. All of you were making that connection. How did I know that? You had great body language, eye contact. You were leaning in, listening, smiling, taking notes. Why? You wanted to make it all about them. And the questions you asked, the other person was very happy to give those answers. That's the power of hospitality. John Gordon, the author, says this: go out of your way to serve someone. Go beyond what's expected. Never underestimate the importance of making someone feel special. And I know you do that. And thank you so very much for that. So once we got into this mindset, then I needed to do 2 things with our staff. First of all, we needed to be in the hospitality business, right? But secondly, hospitality is what we became as an organization. Because we have 2 types of customers. We have all the external customers, but then we have each other. How do you work with each other? How do you deliver hospitality to each other? So that's what we became as an organization. And from there, I was able then to put together this: the 5 essential laws of hospitality. Now, as you listen to these, you may be doing these. And if so, thank you very much. Keep an open mind. As Jacob mentioned, maybe pick up 1 or 2 ideas, right? And you also may think to yourself, well, Bob, these are common sense. I would agree with you. The challenge I offer you today is, do you make them common practice? We all know what to do, ladies and gentlemen, but in our world that gets rushed and so many things going on and high tech and all those things, sometimes we just forget about the common practice. And so this is the framework which I'm going to share with you today on these 5 laws. Because law number 1, you have that prospect, right? And you want to move them to that customer standpoint, which is all about that law of connection. Then you have that customer, that client. which is all about laws 2 and 3, because you're forming that relationship with them. But then the key, I think, is to move them to that vaulted partnership stage, which are laws 4 and 5, right? And hopefully, when you get them there, they should have the opportunity to become this. Here's my definition of a brand ambassador. I'd love for you to write it down. I think it's important. Someone who can't wait to tell the stories to others on how you make them feel. How many storytellers do you have in your business, both from an external end as well as from an internal end? Because I think it's very important today. Now, I've done some research on your industry. And first, and this is just in my own network. You may have a different network, but no one in my network shops for funeral homes. Hey, honey, what are you doing Saturday? I don't know. Let's go and visit 8 funeral homes. Let's see what they're all about. Let's kick the tires. We don't do that, I don't think. And here's interesting. I ran across this study from the Funeral and Memorial Information Council. This is what they say. 92% of people who have worked with a funeral home say that they would make similar arrangements in the future, suggesting an overwhelmingly positive experience for most people who have planned services for loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, I could drop the mic right here because that's it. Well, we could go home right now. Thank you very much. But here's what they say. At the same time, the study found out that only 65% of people say that funeral directors and funeral homes are the top sources of information when making arrangements. Despite the fact they say that most people will work with a funeral home at some point in their lives, 35% of people are looking for information about funeral services outside of funeral homes. Now, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I think this is a golden opportunity for you, ladies and gentlemen. How? You have those storytellers, you have those clients who like you, who trust you, who respect you. So when they're at the neighborhood block party, they're at the church function. Hey, you know, my mom's not doing too well. I'm going to need this. You know, I got to start looking for a funeral home. I know where you have to go. Let me tell you about, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of the funeral home. Stuart Packer. And let me tell you the stories why. Ladies and gentlemen, we buy stories. I know you all have the great benefits, you all have the great features. So does everyone else. First and foremost, we buy stories. And so if you can capture that 35% market, wow. How do you do that? Well, maybe you look at it by putting together these 5 essential laws of hospitality. Here's law number 1. It's the law of connect. I think it has to be here because it's right in my definition of the word hospitality. Everything starts with that connection. And what type of connection are you making? I mean, think about this. Your prospects may be coming to you at a very, very challenging time. And are you real and genuine with that connection? Or are you insincere and fake? Not that you do this, but I've seen this at many networking events. I call this the look-over connection. Your name is Justin. Hey, Justin, very nice to meet you. I'm looking for someone more important. But you and I mean, but I want to talk to you because I know that you have something, a funeral home, but right now there's somebody really more important. Folks, no, you're not going to do that, right? But yet you see this all the time. You see people who would rather be on their phones connecting with someone than with that human being. One of the root words of hospitality in Latin and Greek is this. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't this what you do every single day in your funeral homes? You welcome strangers. You connect with them. You want to make that connection. And in order to do that, we must truly be this. We must practice being present. This isn't helping, ladies and gentlemen. Would you agree that we are more connected than ever before because of this device? Probably. Would you agree that we're more, or that we're more disconnected than ever before because of this device? So for that 2 minutes, that 20 seconds, that 2 hours, whatever it is, you got to practice being present. And guess what? All of you did that. in that exercise. Because for those 2 minutes, you were making that eye contact, that body language. You were truly listening to the other person, which means you were this. You're truly practicing authenticity in making that connection. I would tell my staff this all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to make sure that every connection we make is personal and authentic. Now, we understand, and I would tell them, folks, we may not be able to make the former always, but being authentic, we have to do every time, because your prospects will see that right away. And there's great power to that, right? Because when you make that authentic connection, you move away from that transaction, that average ordinary service, where it's a monologue and you get the money. So here's my paperwork. Are you ready to go? I have questions. I know, but I really want you to sign the paperwork first because I want the money. I know you don't do that. But you all are consumers. You all get that, right? From different people. And we must move from that transaction to that relationship to make that transformation. And there's great power into that, because I ran across this study, which really made me validated at what I want to talk about. But there's a study that they asked over 20,000 people across the country, what's the number one reason for creating a positive customer or employee experience? The answer they gave was a case for belonging. And they defined it as being connected to a company, a team, or a group. Ladies and gentlemen, your prospects want to feel that connection with you. What are those things that either you're doing now, or maybe some other things you can do? And as Lily talked about earlier, as you bring new people into your funeral homes to work, we know some of them don't understand how to make that authentic connection. What can we do to really put this law of connect in place? In fact, I'm going to give you that opportunity as well, because I think we learn from each other. Now, whether you talk to the person next to you, or you stand up and talk to people, take 2 or 3 minutes. What are some ideas that either you're doing now, or that brainstorming that you would like to do in your funeral homes to better practice the law of connect? Talk to each other, write down some ideas, whatever it is. But the floor now is yours. Talk to each other for about the next 2 minutes. Network again, go. About another minute. Okay. All right, let's wrap that up. Thank you very much. So who would like to share an idea that either you do or you're brainstorming on that could, or to better practice the law of Keynote? I have the mic here. Whoever would like to speak up. I know it's early. Yes.
Sorry. I would just say like find a common interest or like I mean that's one of the things that I've done is like found something that you had in common with the family to connect on. Like, you know, I'm a mother, so it's like if it's somebody that has kids or like something in common interest.
Great, I love that, which means you have to listen, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right, see folks, I think we hear really well. I just don't know how well we listen. My wife tells me that all the time. You hear really well, I just don't know how well you listen. Right, but when you listen, you look for that commonality. What else? Who else has something? Yeah, some good conversation. Yes, sir.
I'll just say, with that, just ask an open-ended question.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, yes and no gets you nowhere. It's like, now what? Yes, sir.
I'll just talk loud.
Okay.
We have a couple toy boxes at the funeral home.
Oh, I love that.
And sometimes the kids are going crazy.
I love that.
So
that's that connection.
especially when a funeral starts.
Right.
Oh my, we're gonna be embarrassed. So you point that direction and pretty soon they have it all out. And, one time these guys were so pumped up and crazy that I challenged them to do 30 push-ups. And three little 3, 4, 5-year-olds got down there. So I felt like I needed to pay them a little bit. So when I gave them $1 afterwards, it was, you know, and so some of those things, they kind of want to just, you take care of their kids a little bit.
Well, and again, that's what their parents remember, right? Those are those little things. Folks, it's not the big details. You have the big details down. I've been in many funeral homes. They're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous. But so is everybody else. It's those little details. That's striving for excellence. You know, I love that. We did 25 Pro Football Hall of Fame induction parties, and I got a chance to talk to Hall of Famers, right? And they did the little things every day to strive for excellence. No one ever dreamed about being in the Hall of Fame when they got drafted out of college, as I talked to them. But what they did is they did the little things every day, working on those details. These 5 laws are those little details that I think can truly separate you. And so when you put this law into place, you now can move to law number 2, which is a law of engagement, where you're truly building on that emotional connection. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, you have that customer, right? And while hospitality starts with a connection, I truly believe it becomes stronger with engagement. But how do you engage your people so they can engage your customers, which is all about this? Your standards of service excellence. We're going to talk about that here shortly, and I'll talk about more of that tomorrow in my breakout session. But all of you have standards of service excellence, right? But does everybody know them? How well can your people engage with the customers? And while there's many different ways of engagement, this is one of the ones that we used a lot, and I know you do too. Just start asking questions, asking those open-ended questions, finding that commonality. What's their story? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. So my dad passed away first in July of 2023, and then my aunt, and then my mom in September 2024. My parents pre-planned their funeral in 2007, 16 years before my dad died. Except I didn't know anything about it. It was great. They took care of all of it for me. But my dad passed away. He had dementia. My mom was starting to get dementia. She wasn't in any frame of mind to be at the funeral home. So not only am I at the funeral home with no idea what they planned, but the funeral home got sold. And now I'm working with a new person. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Are you kidding me? But they had the right questions, because the old funeral home did that, and then the new funeral home had all the stories, had all the answers. So I'm like, I don't really know what they're doing. Bob, guess what? Here's everything your parents wanted. Here's some of the other stories. My parents, Pacanovsky's a Slovak name, right? They wanted that Slovak theme into their funeral. I didn't know that, but the funeral home did because they kept the information. They practiced that solid engagement. And that put me at ease because now I didn't have to, like, what am I going to do to try to plan my dad's funeral? It was all done. But I thank them for that. And so find out what their story is. And then today, more than ever, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are in this age, and I love AI, right? But I think we're and this is my own personal opinion, right? I'm on my soapbox right now. I think I think we're spending too much time with AI. I know the efficiencies of it. I know what we can do with it, right? But there's something missing, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to engagement. See, I believe we have an imbalance there. I believe we live in a high-tech, low-touch world. High-tech's never going away. But we've got to balance that high-tech, or high-tech with high-touch. Because high-touch comes from all of you, being that human. Bots don't have a heart. You do. And I've been saying this and saying, hey, folks, if you want to get ahead with AI, you got to do this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, yeah, right, Bob. And then I ran across this quote in a magazine from another entrepreneur. I'm like, aha, see? Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be more human. And I know you are, but you got to make sure that all the people on your team become more human. Because one of the reasons why we use high tech is because we don't train our humans to become more human. Call the cable company. Call the credit card company. Call the bank. I'm not lying, right? So once you make your humans more human, then that's your competitive advantage. So how are you practicing that engagement? Here's another way to do that, right? Now, I don't mean by the 14-minute email survey. This will only take a few minutes. On a scale of 1 to 5, how did we do for their funeral homes? I get that from the airlines. I'm like, stop. I don't want to answer 14 minutes. But personalize the feedback. That's one way you talk about delivering excellence. One way, because you're right, we're not all perfect, and we're all going to make mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. I make mistakes all the time. But when I get the feedback and I learn from those mistakes, then I'm striving towards that excellence. So how do you get feedback from your customers after a funeral? Do you text them? Do you call them? See, for me, I would want an email or a phone call. I really want that phone call. And it's funny what Lily said, that the younger generation can't even pick up the phone. It's true, but I want that phone call. My son, who's 29, he would prefer an Instagram message. I don't even know how to Instagram message, but he does, right? So, learn your generations, but how can you get that feedback? Because I think it's really powerful. And that's what we did. My first business I opened 30 plus years ago was a neighborhood Italian restaurant. Now, within a mile of where we were, there were 6 or 7 other restaurants, Italian restaurants, right? We eat good food, but so did they. We had to do something different, not just not just customer service wise, but hospitality. So I figured it out. I picked up the phone. I did, and I had a member of my staff on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We would call randomly. We had 10 or 12 customers. We had their phone numbers. We had their orders, right? And we would call them 2 or 3 questions, somewhat scripted, but also we had to have that personal touch to it because we wanted to find out, number one, how did we do? I mean, did you like the food, right? And if not, why? And what other ideas do you have for menus, which they love? And who on my staff would you like to refer or give praise to? Now, if we couldn't get a hold of them, we had to do something. Those of you born in the 1980s have no idea what this is, but we had to leave a message on that. Right? But there was something powerful and magical about it because you get home and you hear beep, beep. Who called? Wait, the Italian restaurant called to see how are you out of what? But how are folks at work? How do you know that? Because people will come in. Bob, no one has ever called me to see how my food was. Oh my gosh, thank you. That's the power of positive engagement, because when you do that, you're truly practicing, or what you're doing is this, you're anticipating the needs of your customers. And I believe that an anticipatory service is one of the highest forms of service you can offer. Why? Because you're always one step ahead of your customers. You have engaged with them so much, you know so much about them, that now you're one step ahead. How do you do that? Body language, listening for verbal cues. I would tell my staff, wait, we got to have that. We got to have the vision. We got to think one step ahead. And I would train them and teach them how to do that. Now, there's another word up here. Let me see if I can shake these Scrabble tiles loose. See if this works. Oh, it worked. See, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be proactive when you're working with your customers. Because when you're proactive, you are always making it about them. And when you do that, you deliver this. You deliver the easy button. That funeral home gave me the easy button for my dad's funeral, and consequently my mom's. They had everything there. They anticipated everything. The opposite of that, of being proactive, is being reactive, where you're always on your heels. You're always apologizing, And folks, I know things happen, but I am so sorry. I am so sorry that we screwed up, that funeral, for your mom. You told me about the one thing that she wanted, and I really forgot. It's not my fault. It's actually Rick's fault. I'm throwing Rick under the bus because
Probably true.
that's okay. Because it's not my fault. But I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that we did that. Folks, I know that happens, but I want to change your mindset on how to practice or do positive engagement by changing one letter on this word. Watch. See, folks, would you rather be reactive? Come on, push. Or creative, because when you're creative, you're innovative. You're thinking outside the box. You're always making it about them. And so I had to train my people on that. And then we also had to train them on how to engage with our customers through soft skills. Folks, we assume that everybody has soft skills today. You can't assume that, because that technology has put that a step back. See, I don't think they're really soft skills. I think they're actually called heart skills, H-E-A-R-T. And so I came up with this, the 7 P's of service excellence. These are 7 words that begin with the letter P. I believe these are soft skills. They may be intertwined with some hard skills, but I believe that if we focus on these 7 skills, things like listening, communication, empathy, all fall into these. And so as I give you these, and take a picture of it, and then do your own self-audit when you get back to your funeral home, and rank you on the 7 soft skills. Numbers 1 and 2 is what you're doing really well. And numbers 6 and 7, need some work on. Find that mentor, find that coach, whoever that is. Have your people find that mentor, right? So here are the 7 soft skills that we trained on with our staff that led to delivering service excellence. Being prepared. Right? Oh yeah, you signed the contract. Yeah, I don't know where that is. Can you tell me about it again? No, I don't know what the contract is. Right? How are you prepared for every meeting? Being present. And we talked about that. Putting that smartphone away. Focusing truly on that prospect, on that customer right then and there. Being professional. You have this down pat, right? What is your uniform? Is it white shirts only on funeral days for the men? And ladies, what is your outfit? But also professional is how you look and how you act and how you speak, right? Body language. This isn't professional in my mind, because this means I want to fight. Hands are folded, foot's out in front of the other. Okay, what do you want? Right? Being patient, folks, and I know you do this really well, ladies and gentlemen, because your people come to you at a very difficult time, and they don't know all the decisions that they need to make, but that's why you're the experts. And that's why it's so critical to be patient with them, being personable, right? Showing that personality, that meaning that standard of excellence is, hi, good afternoon. welcome to our funeral home. My name is, insert your name here and pause, because you're reading it, right? That's robotic. Use your personality. Being positive. And ladies and gentlemen, I understand that there are some tragedies that happen, and it's very difficult to sometimes to see that positive. But we know that there's a positive up there, right? With our good Lord, if nothing else. And then lastly, being proactive. So as you look at these 7, what do you do really well? And what do your people do really well? And probably right now, you're probably thinking of 1 or 2 of your staff members like, oh, you know what? They might need a little more help with one of these P's. Give that to them. They're going to thank you for that because they may not know what it truly means to be a professional in your industry, to be patient in your industry, right? Now, I wish I could tell you that I had this down pat completely. I had people that just gravitated towards my business. No, that didn't happen. What's this whole black tie thing about? Well, I own 3 black tuxedos, ladies and gentlemen. That was part of the uniform that my staff wore. Some of them had the jacket. Everyone else had the tie, the tuck shirt, the vest, the pants. It wasn't a superhero costume. I just couldn't pull people off the streets, put on the uniform, like, go serve. Now, I failed twice miserably at trying to engage my people and train them so they could go out and engage my customers. People were leaving me in droves. Why? I had no standards of service excellence. I had no ways for them to engage with our customers. I just said, oh, let's just wing it. Right? I gave them a few things, but nothing really much. So I want to show you today. Finally, I got smart with the 3rd way, which I want to share with you. But I want to show you right now how a bow tie is a metaphor for how we engage and train our staff so they can go out and engage your customers. I need 2 volunteers to try on my ties and my tuxedos. You don't have to be my size. It's a 42. Be shorter, taller, male or female. I have a nice little gift for you and some walk-up music. Can I have volunteers? There's 1. Thank you. All right, look at this. We need 1 more. Come on, gentlemen. There we go. All right. You probably want to take this off, though, if you can.
Oh. Well,
Maybe.
maybe.
Okay, Eric, thank you for being up here. And your name is?
Tiffany.
Tiffany. Eric, why don't you stand on this side? First of all, let's give them a big hand. Thank you for being my guinea pigs, being my volunteers on this. So now, that's right. Now there are 3 ways, ladies and gentlemen, that we can engage our people. Again, as I said, I failed at the first 2. So now both of you work for me. I'm so sorry.
You might be sorry.
Yeah, well. So now you both said that you like people, you've worked in service before, but here's so here's the first method of training and engagement. It's called the tell you method of training. And you are going to tune me out. 2 reasons for that. Number 1 is I told you during the interview process there would be an extensive onboarding training program. Yeah, it's not going to happen. We're too busy. We got funerals backed up left and right. I need people. Both of you said that you like people anyway. So I'm just going to tell you to just go out and serve our customers. Now, here's the challenge with that. They are now a brand of your organization. Once they put that name tag on, or that pin, or that white shirt, or whatever it is, and you go tell them, just go set up the room with nothing else, what could possibly go wrong? Everything. But yet they're your brand because now there's no playbook. You just are going to go out and wing it, and you just think whatever you think is going to happen. Well, Bob said just to go out and set it up or whatever it is. So it's very similar to this tie, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my training for this tie. I'm going to tell you right now, please tie this tie into a bow tie around your neck. That's all I can tell you. It's a great photo op if you know either one of these people, by the way.
Casey Smith, are you in here? I need your help.
No phone in a friend. Okay. See, folks, we could be here all day. We could. Okay, not bad, but again.
Better if you would lay down.
Okay.
Easier.
Oh, well, maybe later. So you can see the challenge with this, right? I mean, now they're frustrated because now they were promised this huge training program, but now they're just going out and winging it. So before you quit, here's the second method. It's called the show you method. Yeah, you can take that off. But the show you method is the cutting corners method. Now, here's what I mean by that. So since I still have no time, I told ChatGPT, give me 25 ways to deliver funeral service excellence through hospitality in your industry. And so you must read this manual cover to cover, memorize the 25 ways, and have them ready to go by Friday. Will you do that, or will you look for the Cliff Notes version? You're probably going to look for the Cliff Notes version, right? Most of them are. But now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to even empower you more, because now you get the coat to wear, right? So now you have more of the brand of my funeral home. Be careful, it might be a little tight on you, big guy.
It's like getting your master's jacket.
That's right. Okay, so now they have the jacket, but they'll probably only know 2 or 3 things. Now they're going to look good doing this, but when someone comes up to them, a family member, saying, hey, can you help me with this? And they're going to say, I don't know. It's not my job. I can't help you. You'll have to talk to him, because they have no training. Here's the show you method for the bow tie. Reach inside your left inside coat pocket. Left inside. Can you put on this tie? Pretty simple. 2 or 3 steps, right? Tighten, loosen, clip on. Now they're going to put this tie on. They're going to look good. They're still, or really all I've done is I've given them the what. Here's the what of what you should be doing to deliver excellence with hospitality. But I'm leaving something out, which I'm going to talk about shortly. So they're going to look at it for a couple ways and see they all look good. They both look good. But they still aren't representing your brand to the fullest extent because they're not fully engaged. That's why the only method that works is this one. It's the involve you method of training, where I'm going to say to both of you, you know what? I have a comprehensive 8-hour training program, which I did. And I'm going to involve you in it. And now not only is the what, but now I'm going to give you the why. Why do we answer the phone like this? Why do we send an email like this? Why do we talk to our customers like this? Why do we do these things that are our standards of excellence here at our funeral home? And you're going to get it because now you are involved in every step of the way, right? And then I'm going to provide you that mentor and coach for the next 2 or 3 weeks who's going to be there with you. You're still going to be talking to customers, but now they have that mentor or coach that's going to help them with this. So they become more involved with it. It's very similar to this bow tie, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't figure it out. I tried the first 2 methods. It didn't work, only until I got a colleague of mine who wore bow ties all the time. Said, Bob, let me help you. Let me bring to your office, and I'm going to involve you in this. And it was hard. It took a while. Am I right? Ladies and gentlemen wearing a bow tie there. And I finally got it. He said, great, do it again. Over and over and over. Ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of you is a champion in your industry. And thank you very much for the work you do. And you have champions working with you and for you. But that's why I believe this last step to involve our people is that we must do this. I love this quote from Coach K. Because we should never practice customer service on our customers. You'll never win. So that means we have to practice so that before they get out onto the floor at a funeral service, what are some of those things? What are all those things that you can know so that when someone comes up to you with it, you can say, oh, you know what? Thank you very much. Here's my answer, blah, 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 versus I don't know. It's not my job, Eric. Talk to somebody else here. I'm just opening the doors for people, right? Which means, folks, we must practice with our people. And here's the practice sounds like practice is a really cool word. The word we don't like to hear is role play. No one likes to role play. Caitlin Clark practiced all the time. Practice. Iowa men's basketball team. Congratulations on that this year, right? going as far as they did, but they just couldn't show up to march bands. Hey, let's just going to play. Let's see what's going to happen. Folks, we got to practice. Once you do that, I promise you that your people will be engaged. They will become brand ambassadors for you. And they will represent your brand to the highest level. Let's give these guys a big hand, please. You can hang that up. Thank you. I have a signed copy of my book for you, for each of you. So thank you so very much for taking this time to be here.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate it. Enjoy. Yeah, you can. So folks, now we got so really for us, what started out just as a uniform, the black tie was just a uniform, but it turned into a mindset. Black tie mindset became that we would anticipate the needs of our customers. We'd personalize the experience. We'd make it as easy as possible for our customers to do business with us. We'd involve our people in every step so that they could be great brand ambassadors for us. And it worked. Our retention went through the roof. Why? Because I finally figured out that we had standards of service excellence, and so did they. Now the third, so here's my question to you. Here's, in the next minute or two, again, talk amongst yourselves. Brainstorm. What's one or two ideas that either you're doing or you'd like to do to really deliver better engagement from your people so they can engage with your customers? Go. So far, so good. So far, so good. What's that? So far, so good. How about another 30 seconds? Okay, any ideas you want to share on how you practice the law of engagement, or maybe a new idea that you just thought about that might work in your industry? And we all learn from others. Idea? Anybody? Had some good discussion. Yes, sir.
What you said earlier about being authentic is huge.
Especially when you engage with people, right?
And people can sense phony from a mile away.
Yeah, amen. Amen. I love that. So I guess my question is, how do you make sure that your team is always authentic?
Well, I had a small funeral home, so my team was kind of limited.
That's okay.
We were talking. I said I always felt that when you met someone at the funeral home, if there's someone you don't know, and it sounds like I crept on people, but I always tried to find the connection as to why they were with us,
Mm-hmm.
and use that, whether it was a family member or a friend that they knew. If I knew the deceased well, I shared something
Absolutely.
about the deceased, a story that we had, and and I think that made a connection.
I agree. And really, I don't think that's creepy because, folks, we can do that now. We have this thing called Google. You can find out almost anything about anybody, right? Who else? And any other idea on how to better or put the law of engagement into? I don't need a show of hands, but how many of you have standards of excellence in your funeral home when it comes to how to greet a customer, how to answer the phone, how to send out an email, how to work with a customer who's unhappy? I didn't have a customer service recovery program, ladies and gentlemen. And so what happened is that the people, I would have somebody angry, and it wasn't a lot, but I would have my people, since I didn't train them, and it was like mice when the light went on in the room. They went, pew. Talk to him. He's the only one that can help, right? So if you don't have a standard of excellence on customer service recovery, how can your people engage better with those customers who are unhappy, right? Something to think about. So when you put this in place, you now can move to law number 3, which is the law of trust, where you're moving them from caution to confidence. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I still, even with my parents' funeral, with the new funeral home, I was still cautious. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess this is going to be good, right? I mean, I don't know. See, they did that, but now they had to get to trust. And ladies and gentlemen, we know that trust doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes, at times, a while to build it up. But we know that one major mishap, or probably usually what happens more, is those series of minor mishaps. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you said you wanted that. Oh, I was supposed to call you on Wednesday with that. Oh, I'm so sorry. And the trust you've worked so hard fades away. And now you have to go back to reconnect and re-engage to build that trust. Here's the importance of trust. Somebody said simply, when your customers trust you, they return and tell others. And when your people trust you, they become more engaged and they perform. This is where productivity, morale, and innovation increase. And there's power to that. Here's a slide that I took. I was in attendance at a conference before COVID, and the speaker spoke on business trust. He said, look at what happens when trust increases from your customers. Look at all the things that go up. I've talked about some of them already. Innovation, morale, loyalty, retention, revenue, they all go up. Why? Because your people trust you. Your customers trust you. Yeah, you could make a mistake, but they trust you that you're going to take care of it. And look what goes down. But he also said that the lack of business trust is one of the largest single business expenses we have today. Because if your customers don't trust you, they may come to you for that one funeral. They're probably not coming back. Now, when it comes to employees, I think it's really important to trust. Here's also what they said. Where are my millennials in the room? Raise your hand. Millennials. Yeah, you know what? I got to be honest with you folks. After COVID, you guys were getting the raw end of the deal. You really were like, these darn millennials. Jeez. They don't want to be team players. They don't want to work hard. And so here's what this study said. Ouch. Right? They would if they just trusted their senior leadership work. But here's the kicker. Here's what they said. Take out the word millennial and put in any other generational name. They said baby boomers will work harder, longer, be a better team player. Generation X, Z, Y, Alpha, they would all be better if they just trusted their senior leadership at work. That's the power of trust today through all generations, right? And so we got to make sure that we build that trust, which means here are 4 things. Again, I found this. This was an article that I found in your industry. This is a marketing company that markets to funeral homes, right? And here they say here are 4 things they say help build trust from your customers. Number 1, recent research by the History Factory show that 80% of baby boomers and 85% of Gen Xers say that authenticity is the most important factor they consider or before deciding to support a brand. And that number continues to climb when we look at generations, younger generations. An EY survey found that 92% of Gen Zers say that authenticity is the most important personal value. Going back to your comments, sir, if you want to create that trust with your customers, truly you must be authentic with them. These Gen Zers, that's what they crave. We all crave that, but 92% is an incredible number. Here's the second thing to build trust, they say. While it may feel strange to, or says that while it may feel strange to always reintroduce yourself, it's a good idea to have a yearly cycle where you, or that where you introduce yourself to your community. This cycle helps you stay in the minds of the people who already know you and allow you to connect, there's that word, with your new audience as it grows. Consider showing trust by showing your audience the people who do the serving and caring in your funeral homes. The more the audience sees and hears from your funeral directors and funeral staff, the more they'll feel like they know them. We live in an age of video today, ladies and gentlemen. What are you doing? How are you showing that? And it doesn't have to be long, right? The younger generation doesn't want the long, but it's that 2-minute video from not only the funeral director, the owner, the founder, but from the staff at the funeral home. I guarantee you this, and maybe you're doing this already, but if you have a Gen Zer or a millennial working for you and you put them on video and they get that across in social media, I promise you that their generation is going to notice that. Wait a minute, I didn't know they're working there. Wow, let's go experience more, right? Here's the third thing they say. Studies have shown that the modern consumer today wants to work with companies that share their values, so that the more that you can promote the values you stand for, the more that you'll attract the trust of these audiences. So they say, consider having your staff or founders film a video talking about your funeral home inception and core values. That way you can show off how personable and relatable your staff is while telling your audience about who you are. What are your core values and how do you live with them? Well, we're going to talk about that tomorrow in my breakout session. I think core values are so very important today. But what are you doing to show that in your community? And I'm sure that you're doing that. And if so, thank you very much. And here's the last one. Maintaining trust through the security and also the consistency of it. They say that by establishing strict security measures and displaying those efforts, such as listing trust badges and SSL certificates prominently on your website, you're showing that you take the privacy of your family seriously. I don't know if any of you do that, but again, that's just that subconscious way, because we're all concerned about cybersecurity now, right? And all the data breaches and all that. So what can you do? So if you put these 4 things in place, and maybe you are, plus other ways to really establish trust, I think you can get probably one of the best compliments you can get from your customers. See, if they trust you, that means they have this. And peace of mind is priceless. Peace of mind means you're doing those little things during the entire customer process, those little details. And you're establishing that trust. Yeah, something may happen, but you know what? They trust you. We weren't perfect, ladies and gentlemen. We made mistakes. But my client said, Bob, you make it so easy. Your team makes it so easy. Even when you guys screw up, you make it worthwhile for us. Oh, thanks. But it's true. That peace of mind now starts building into more storytelling. What about you? What are you doing today to build that trust with your customers? What are 1 or 2 ideas that you can share with someone that maybe you're doing, or something you just thought of that can continue to build that trust that you show? We'll just give it about a minute. We're going to shorten these here because you're probably already tired of talking to each other, but that's okay. I still want you to talk, so give it about a minute. Just talk about, brainstorm on what you do to build trust with your customers. Okay, what about from this side of the room? We haven't really even heard, I mean, we have my two volunteers, that's really appreciated. Anybody on this side of the room wants to share something on how you continue to build trust with your customers? You don't have to, but yes, sir.
We just discussed out in your community, living out in your community, what you're trying to get across to your customers. So live two different lives.
Oh, that's really important, isn't it? Because I think once you hand that business card out, ladies and gentlemen, you branded your company. So how do you show up every day, right? At the grocery store, at the church function. Folks, we did 700 weddings approximately. And I would see this, right? You know, people don't know each other. They're standing in line at the bar and they're waiting like, oh, who are you with? Oh, I know the groom. Oh, we're friends of the bride. Oh, what do you do? Here's my business card. Ooh, at 6:30, it's really good. At 10:30, his tie's wrapped around his head, dancing on the tables. Hey, do you know who he works for? Wow, I didn't think, man, wow. I didn't really think I would see that out of him. Right? That trust goes. I'm not saying you can't have any fun, but just be mindful of the fun you have because we're being observed and watched all the time now. Who else about trust? And anybody else on what you do to build that trust with your customers? That's okay. But again, learn from each other. So now, with these three in place, you now can move to that vaulted partnership stage because now your customers trust you, which now here's law number 4. It's the law of appreciation, where you're truly creating these brand ambassadors. Now, I know that you do this, ladies and gentlemen. I know you show gratitude, thankfulness, and appreciation all the time. And thank you very much for doing that. Right? And frankly, you could put this law after each of the first 3. We should be doing it all the time. But that's not why this law is here. That's not why I put it here. I put it here because of this. I call this my 3-degree challenge of showing better appreciation. See, folks, we all know that water boils at 209 degrees, right? No, it's really hot at 209. It boils, the magic of water, those little details, when it gets to that excellence, is just 3 degrees more at 212 degrees. All the funeral homes that aren't in the room right now, and there could be many reasons, but they're going to just probably practice 209 degrees of appreciation, but not you, you're here. You're going to look for those ways to go 3 degrees more because that's when you truly create those brand ambassadors. Here are 3 that happened to me. By the way, didn't cost a dime on any of these. Here's the first one. My aunt, for her funeral, she was a 2nd grade school teacher, Catholic grade school teacher. 40 years, single, never married, had dementia, so I had to plan all of her funeral, right? Which is fine. But she would tell her students, the easy way to remember her last name is Z as in zebra. Guess what kind of Christmas gifts she got every year from her students, 25 students to 30 in a class times 40. And she didn't throw out any zebras. I had zebras coming out of everywhere. What am I going to do with these zebras? I was giving some away, but then, and she lived in senior living for about 4+ years. But then when she passed away, I still had tons of zebras, right? So I went to the funeral home and I was mentioning that. We're in the, we're talking about her services. And the one gentleman said, well, Bob, you could just probably give them to Goodwill. 209 degrees of appreciation, not bad. But then there was a gentleman. He was an associate. He was in the room with us. And he said, can I give you an idea? Sure. Well, we have room here. Why don't you bring them here? And so, because she had former students coming to her calling hours, she had family members. Oh, Miss Zelenka, Z is in zebra. They all took a zebra. I didn't think of that idea. They did. That's 3 degrees of appreciation. He gave me so much peace of mind knowing that I could do this here. I didn't want to ask. Frankly, folks, I was kind of embarrassed to ask him. I have all these zebras. I didn't want to ask that, but I didn't have to. He did. I'll never forget that. I don't remember much about my aunt's calling hours. I'll never forget that. That to me is 3 degrees of appreciation. Here's the next one. Raise your hand if you've ever had a personalized handwritten thank you note given to you by the medical or surgical team that worked on your outpatient procedure. Raise your hand. Look around. Nobody. I did. 3 years ago, I went in for a procedure. I got out of recovery. Everything was good. My wife's picking me up, and I get the get well soon folder packet with the thank you note. And I'm thinking 209 degrees of appreciation. Rubber stamped logo, pre-printed message. Thank you very much for placing your trust in our healthcare system. We truly value you as a customer and hope that you're well. Fine, good, fine, okay, right? Except 8 people worked on me. I opened it up. All 8 of them personally signed it. And 4 of them wrote more than one sentence, thanking me for coming in, wishing me well, hoping I had a speedy recovery, and thanking me for putting my trust in them. That's 3 degrees of appreciation. Didn't cost them anything but time. Here's the third one. I speak all over the country, and I'm members of the hotel chains. I'm here, not here. Here, not here. Keep that in mind. A couple years ago, I went to Dallas, Texas to do a 2-day training with a company. I was looking for a hotel within the loyalty programs. I'm members of some of the loyalty programs, right? So I found one. So I booked, and then I got a call the day before from the front desk. I knew this was going to be somewhat of a different experience. Because Stephen called. Hi, Mr. Pacanovsky. This is Stephen at such and such. Yeah. Hey, listen, we're looking forward for you to make your first visit to our hotel. I asked. I told him in the comments it was my first visit. What time do you think you'll be here? Well, Stephen, plane lands, airport traffic, rental car, 4:30, 5:30. Perfect. Looking forward to seeing you. So it's about 5 o'clock. I walk in, and Stephen practiced the first 4 laws of appreciation. He connected with me. Good afternoon, Mr. Pacanovsky. Come on. Folks, there's a thing called Google. Like I said, he had my picture. He knew it was me. He had his name tag. That's huge, by the way. Welcome to our hotel. Then he engaged with me. He asked me what I was doing there and what were my favorite types of foods, because he wanted to recommend restaurants. I told him I had the trust built in with the loyalty program, right? Then he went to the 209 degrees of appreciation. Those of you that are members of hotel chains, you know what it is, or this is. It's the white gift bag with the bottle of water and the snack. 209 degrees of appreciation. Good, fine, okay. Then he said, almost on cue, make sure when you get to your room, you look in the bag. Something just a little extra for you. Now he's got my attention. Get to my room, that. From Shirley. Shirley was the general manager of the hotel. I've never met Shirley. But I called her and said, Shirley, you got to help me. I do this for a living, so why? Her answer was priceless. I said, Bob, I know you had many choices to look at for a hotel. Thank you for your loyalty to our brand, but here's the kicker. I wanted to do something just a little extra to say thank you. We truly value and appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 4 years. I keep telling this story. I don't forget it. It has become memorable because Shirley took the time to practice 212 degrees, that 3 degree more of appreciation. All of the people that work with you and for you, they are so creative. Use them to brainstorm to what else can you do to show that appreciation. In the interest of time, I'll let this go, or because I want to get, or it's a video that I want to show you too. But go back to your people and brainstorm with them, because they will tell you some things that you could do, and it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. Before I give you my 5th one, I want to give you my appreciation. And hopefully these are my 3 degrees of appreciation. I have 2 things for you. that don't cost you anything. First one is my Black Tie Hospitality Toolkit. It's a zip file. It's got about 5 or 6, 7 different articles, thoughts, posts all about hospitality. It's yours. It's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. A couple ways to get it. You can send me an email. In the subject line, put code 5 laws. And I'll send it to you. Also, on some of the chairs, I have this leave behind piece that talks about some of the seminars I do. If you know of companies in your community that need customer service hospitality, please keep me in mind. But it's perforated and you can fill it out. Just write the word 5 laws into that and I'll get that to you. My second one is called my free 20. It's a complimentary 20 or 30-minute phone or virtual call. It's really a 30-minute virtual or phone call. It's yours, free. Brainstorm with me. Ask me questions about my keynote. Ask, hey, Bob, here's some ideas that we're thinking about. What do you think? I'm yours for 30 minutes. Also, you can scan that. That'll take me into the 21st century. That's my code on Calendly. It's a 3-week lead time. I'm in Eastern time zone since I live in Ohio, so I'm 1 hour ahead of you. But you could literally schedule that time. And then when I get back to my office, I'll confirm that with you. And I'm yours for 30 minutes. Just again, my way of saying thank you. Last thing is, as you heard Jacob mention, I wrote my first book. It's a real easy read. It's about 100 pages, 25 short chapters, about 3 to 4 pages each chapter, all about how to delight customers with hospitality. Now, you can read this all in one sitting, I'll be honest with you, but I designed it intentionally that at the end of each chapter, I have a black tie takeaway, which is an action statement or a question that you can answer. And I have people buy it for their staffs. They do a book club. They'll do 4, 5, 6 chapters. And then they talk about it, right? So it's yours. It's $10. And I'll be here through tomorrow. And if it means anything to you, I'll sign it as well. But it's just my way of saying thank you. I truly value and appreciate you. This leads me to law number 5. But before we do that, I believe that these first 4 laws must be in place consistently, because if you do that, you deliver this, right? And your customers love the joy that they get knowing that they're working with you. But this law is the last one, and you can't do it all the time because it actually could backfire on you, right? Because now they could come to expect it. But law number 5 is what I call the law of wow. My definition of wow is something random and unexpected. It makes you go, wow. Right? How many of you have a wow budget in your organizations? Okay, use the free 30. Contact me and I will show you how to do the law or wow budget. Because number 1, it doesn't cost a lot of money. And number 2, there's 2 people that get empowered by the law of wow. Not only the receiver, but the giver. I empowered my staff to do the law of wow. I gave them the budget. I told them the parameters and they did it and they felt so good about it because they knew that they made a difference in that client's lives. Here's just a couple examples. Early on, we did that exercise, right? Where you met someone. There was one word in that exercise, I believe it's the most important word in that exercise, so much so that it was repeated twice. I remember what it is. You asked the same question, but you asked the word twice. You said the word twice. Favorite. See, if I said, hey, what's one thing you like about your job? What's the snack? Well, I like that. I like this. But when I said favorite, you probably knew exactly what your favorite snack or beverage was, your favorite part of your job. Here's how I want you to practice the law of wow with the person you just met. You have data. You have contact information. What if in 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, when it's random and unexpected, you send them their favorite snack or a gift card for their favorite beverage in the mail with this note? So great to meet you at IFDA. Thank you for the work you do in our industry. I hope you have a great day and enjoy your favorite snack on me. Don't forget that, ladies and gentlemen. You could do this with any customer, any employee. You just have to ask the question and then listen and then act on it. That's what happened to me. I was in Indiana speaking, and I had a 2-day training, and I did that exercise, but they asked me, Bob, what's your favorite snack or beverage? And I told them. So day 1 gets done. Day 2, here comes the manager with this beautifully wrapped gift box. Bob, this is for you. I don't understand. Bob, this is from Jessica. She was in your training yesterday. She was so inspired that she wanted to do this. See, I told the staff that my favorite beverage was green tea. Jessica went out that night to the grocery store, bought a $2 box of green tea, wrapped it, and gave it to me the next day. Folks, I've used the green tea. I can't get rid of the note. It means too much to me because she acted on it. She took that law of wow. We did that for our weddings. Think about this. We had, like you, sometimes I worked with customers 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, got to know them, started asking the right questions and listened. But I wanted more than the one and done customer. So I wouldn't tell no one this. I didn't do this for all my weddings, but I did for some of them. So that day of the wedding, I would put a gift on the gift table because I knew the next day they were at mom and dad's opening presents. Grandma and grandpa are there. Aunt George and Uncle Phyllis are there. Cousin Ginny. You got a gift from your catering company? Open up, it was the bottle of wine. The night they got engaged. He remembered. Oh my God. Now, we had built the 4 laws already through that night. Now it's like, you got to work with them. Oh my gosh, they're the best. Folks, we picked up more referrals just by practicing the law of wow because we made it personal. And then the 4 Seasons does this too. I had a friend of mine say, Bob, the 4 Seasons keeps track of birthdays, anniversary dates. I came to the hotel and it happened to be my birthday. They sent me a slice, here's the key, of my favorite cake, not just any cake, my favorite cake up to my room with balloons, and everyone on the staff wished me happy birthday. Cost them $5, ladies and gentlemen. They talk about this all the time, right? But Bob, we're in the funeral home industry. What can we do to create the law of wow? Oh, I'm glad you asked that. Because it involves this, a barbershop quartet. Here's a website quote that I got from your industry, from a funeral home doing what you do. Watch. That is the law of wow. What are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sure you are. I'd love to hear your stories on what you're doing, right? But I bolded this sentence, these 2 sentences on purpose because of the last things they said. I would never use anyone else when dealing with the loss of a loved one. They went above and beyond. That's the law of wow. Right? Our review is going to take about 4 minutes. I don't know. Well, you know what? I'll have it in my presentation tomorrow. You can see it tomorrow, but it's all about the power of thank you, right? I think it's that powerful. But again, brainstorm with your people. Take these ideas back. Brainstorm with them. What can we do to really deliver that law of wow? It doesn't have to be big, folks. It just has to matter. It has to matter to them. Is a fruit tray the law of wow? I don't know. Maybe if they like fruit. But if it's just something you have to do, probably not. See, folks, if you put all these things together, I truly believe you have the opportunity to become this. And very few companies get to that stage. In fact, I brought out a new Keynote last year, and I did a survey, nationwide survey, and I asked people, tell me about the customer service that they get today. 81% of people said only some companies excel, while most need significant improvement. Once you get to this level, ladies and gentlemen, that's where the magic truly happens. And then they share. And in our high-tech world, sharing takes on a whole new meaning today. And here are real stats. Oh, Bob, I don't know. The Temkin Group does tons of research on customer experience. Look at this. This is the one that I want to talk 4 times likely to refer you. Here's how I read it. You may read it differently. But how I read it, say for a simple math problem, you have 10 brand ambassadors in your funeral. I know you have more. But for a math problem, you have 10 brand ambassadors. How I read this is how you've taken care of them. They can tell 4 people about you. That's called marketing or pre-qualifying you. What would 40 new prospects look like coming into your funeral home at any given point? It could change your funeral home. And then I ran across this, and why it caught my attention. This is a car salesman in Michigan, and he never sold a car the day of his life. He didn't have to, because he practiced these 5 laws of hospitality. But your industry senior, I don't know if this is true or not, but I put this on here. He discovered the law of 250. Joe realized each person knows about 250 people. Wedding planners and funeral directors confirm this. Yes? I don't know. I'm just asking you. I mean, does your average customer know 250 people? Because look what can happen if you do. That's how you deliver hospitality. So here's my idea for you. I think it's my job to challenge you. I've given you a lot of information, and I know you're going to get a lot of great education here. And when you get back to your funeral homes, you're going to have 75 voicemails, 335 emails, and 12 flyers to put out. You're like, yeah, this guy in the bow tie talked about something. I don't know what it was. He wants us to get better. Well, here's what I call it. I call it my 21-day challenge, becoming a better you. All I'm asking you to do is take one thing that I've talked about today, just one, and work on it for 21 days. Why 21 days? Well, we know it takes 21 to 30 days to form a habit. That's why all the health clubs are booked on January 3rd of this year and empty by January 18th. Can't form a habit. But you need that accountability partner, that personal trainer. Well, you met someone about an hour ago. What if the two of you can be that personal trainer of each other? Every 4 or 5 days, because I want you to get better. You're so good already, but I want you to get to that next level. And if they say, yeah, that's okay. There's my email address. I'll be a personal trainer for the next 21 days. No charge. My way of saying thank you. Here's the other thing that I would challenge you to do. You've probably heard more about hospitality in the last hour and a half than ever before. Based on all I've told you, what's your new definition of hospitality? See, if I come back 1 year from now and walk into your funeral homes, what has changed on how you're taking care of your customers, on how you're delivering that standard of hospitality excellence? I want you to get better. See, ladies and gentlemen, there are many things to hospitality. Here are 3 more words, Scrabble words, see if I can shake them loose. Hospitality is all about high touch. I've talked about that, right? Because high touch means it's coming from you. And when it's coming from you, you're truly being helpful. And your customers love the fact that you're making it all about them. And you're truly being helpful. And when you're being helpful, you're delivering happiness. Happiness equates to joy. Joy equates to storytellers. And storytellers equates to retention. I thank you for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to close my seminar with this quote. I close almost all my seminars with this quote. You know the quote, you know the woman who said it. I don't think she realized the power and importance of this quote when it comes to delivering hospitality. And as I close, I'd love to share it with you right now. It's true, ladies and gentlemen. Over time, your customers aren't going to remember what you've said to them. They probably aren't going to even remember what you've done for them, but they'll never, ever forget how you've made them feel. Moving forward, will you strive to be in the hospitality business first, putting these 5 essential laws of hospitality into place so that you can create these brand ambassadors, these storytellers who can't wait to tell others how you are making them feel. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We'd like to present you with the challenge coin. A challenge coin is an emblem of our excellence, unity, and shared purpose within our profession, and serves as a meaningful reminder of the important work we do each day. We're proud to offer you a symbol of this gratitude for being with us here in Iowa.
Thank you very much. Oh, I love it. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. And I'll take this on the road with me.
And also a certificate of appreciation.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very much. I'll go in my office.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.